Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qala rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Jazakumullah khair, সম্মানিত ভাই বোনেরা. Okay, I was a bit confused whether English or Bengali, so it's better. It's a wonderful uh, and what a wonderful opportunity that I am here after 14 years. Brother Abdul Quddus has mentioned some of the things that I do, and so essentially from physics to parenting, that's my journey. Physics to education to parenting. All my degrees are in physics, but I came to education, and through that, I picked up parenting, and I'm passionate about that. So, I'm going to discuss this in the way that I have been asked, and the topic is a bit very contemporary, very relevant. It's not typical parenting, and that the imams and others normally say. And so I'll try to navigate more or less uh, the essence of Scandinavian Muslims. That's what I thought. And title is my title from the title I was given. And so before I start the discussion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends a human being with two people, mom and dad. So essentially, mom and dad, mother and father, they are the teachers, they are the everything. Obviously, in a family, there are other people. At the end of the day, the essential is mom, mother and father. So that's one thing. The other thing is the world has become totally different, even what it was 2 years ago. Moral breakdown, political lying, and genocide, everything has become virtually normalized. Yeah, normalized, especially in the, I call them global north. That means the developed Western democracies. And still, what is happening, who support, enable genocide, and the whole of the world totally opposed. The reason I'm saying this, that morality has broken down. And who sets this morality? State, society, parents, all of them. But who does this initially? These are the parents. And I'm criticizing global north, but global south countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or any other countries, therefore are developing, not that different. Political leadership and other leadership, dismal. And the reason I'm saying this is because at the end of the day, everything goes back to mom and dad. So those who are mom and dad here, and those who will be inshallah, please, if you have got inquiries later on, if I have got time, then I'll try to more or less clarify. Okay, so uh, Muslim parents born in the East and children born in the West. So that's the situation for Muslims in our country, in our world, especially the first generation, second generation Muslims, or even third generations in England, in America, in Western countries. And so these Asian or Eastern, let's call this Eastern and Western, and North Europe is virtually Western. So there is a dichotomy. There are two, they live in two different worlds. And but we have got the same destiny. We are raised for the same purpose. And for Muslims, the purpose is straightforward. Surah Ali Imran, verse 110. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You are the best community. You have been raised for the benefit of humanity. So, benefit of humanity is the part of Muslim ethos. And how they will do it? Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. So these three things, along with for the benefit of humanity, that has been said as the reason for being chosen. Unlike some other communities who think that by birth they are chosen people and they can call genocide and their chosenness doesn't end. So Islam is straightforward. Islam is about piety. Islam doesn't look into one's background and others. At the end of the day, it's the piety that is important. So if the Asian parents, I'm saying this, people born in the East, I was born in the East, but my children are born in the West, but they are half this and half that. So those who have got the Eastern culture in their DNA or psychology, and they handle the children that are born to them, but born in the society, in the schools and neighborhoods, there are two challenges. One is the generational challenges, and that generational challenges is there in every society, everywhere. Mother's generation is different to children's generation, but cultural differences, they are the most important in our case. That's why we see very talented first generation Muslims, they cannot raise children according to their wish. And of course, children should not be raised according to the wish of the parent, because children are children, they have got their own life. But in many places, parents are failing. So what we need to do is there are misunderstandings and gaps that need to be broken and find a common vision for a better future. So that's the more or less uh, important thing. And identity and belonging, that is one of the things. I wrote a book in 2005 on race, religion, Muslim identity in Britain. Because to some, is the religious identity is the essence, is the everything. To others, is the racial identity is the essence, everything. Whereas human beings are created with multiple identities. And all these identities are important for an individual or for people. I was born in Bangladesh, so ethnically I am a Bengali. I was raised as a Muslim, so I am a Muslim. Those who convert to Islam, they are Muslims. I cannot change my ethnic identity. That is done. I can change my religion. Others change religion, they will come to Islam. So religious identity. And also in Finland or in the UK or in different countries, many of us are citizens of the country. So you are Finnish or I am British. And the problem is this, even second, third, fourth generation Muslims are not aware and clear as to how they navigate or manage these multiple identities. They think that they're only Muslim. They think they're only British. Seculars and don't care about Islam, they're only British. No. Human beings have multiple identities. And all of the identities are important. So there's a debate in Britain going on amongst Islamic people. And I asked who they are. Muslim. Is there any other identity? No. Ask me, who are you? I said, I am Bengali, I am Muslim, I am British. And I subscribe to this, each one of this 100%. I am 100% British, 100% Muslim, 100% Bengali. I don't see any contradiction in this. Many may be amazed at what I am saying. Is there any contradiction? I don't see any contradiction. The reason I can explain, but probably time will not allow. Okay, so parents see Islam as the culture. Children see Islam in a different light. Cultural Islam, real Islam. I'm not saying the children are correct, parents are wrong, but focus is cultural Islam. Focus is they look for real Islam, and parents cannot provide that, or other ulama in the West cannot provide that. That's the problem. So children, their identity, as I mentioned, I am a Bengali, this and that. So I have got, at a time I say I have When I say I'm Muslim, I'm Muslim. But they use hyphenated identity. Finnish Muslim, British Muslims. Okay? I say that two are different, but they have merged. But whenever they want to say, identify themselves, I'm a British Muslim, I'm a Bangladeshi Muslim. There's no harm in it. But parental focus is just one at the same time. So there are gaps. These gaps needs to be narrowed. And tension between cultural preservation versus social integration, authenticity is a major thing. Integration and assimilation, there are two English words, and I'm sure all of you know this. Assimilation means you give up your things and become new. You cannot become a new person, but you pretend to become, say, English or Finnish. You cannot do that, like an indigenous Finnish or English. Okay? So, this cultural preservation important. I'm not saying they're wrong, but living in a different country, different environment, children growing, you cannot just be uncompromising. You have to understand what it means. And then opportunity is there, obviously. There is huge opportunity. First generation Muslims came to the Western world with lack of English, lack of cultural knowledge, born in a village with probably Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and suddenly they came into cosmopolitan Britain in London or Paris. To some, it's a huge challenge. It is a challenge, but there's a huge opportunity. Because in the past, Muslims, when they did not have an empire, Muslims empire lost many times ago, long ago. Ottoman Empire became sick man of Europe. But people in the 11th, 12th, 13th centuries went to Malaysia, Indonesia, went to sub-Saharan Africa. Even today, they go as businessmen. Many of them go there as businessmen. At that time, businessmen were very honest and professional. Some very few went to preach Islam. And they learned the language, they intermingled with the society, and within a few generations, Malays, Indonesians, others became Muslims. How? Whereas we are living here decades and decades, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Why can't we convert people? And that's the big, because we are not confident in our being Muslim, confident in our understanding that, well, Britain has given us, okay, I'm talking about the Britain more because I'm a British citizen. There's a huge opportunity. Legally, morally, we are equal. Maybe politically not. Maybe socially there is Islamophobia. In every country there is Islamophobia, anti-Muslim hatred. Even in Muslim countries there are things. But taking advantage, as some other communities have taken, like the Jewish community, like the Hindu community, they are moving up, becoming prime ministers, becoming BBC journalists, senior journalists. Why can't Muslims do this? There is a fundamental issue of contextual understanding. We are better Muslims, so we keep ourselves within the Muslims. If you mix with non-Muslims, you lose your Islam, as if Islam is like a brittle glass. There is little confidence because there is little knowledge and understanding and context. So knowledge has been our lost things, knowledge and hikmah. And until and unless we bring back the knowledge, we will be in very difficult situation. We are in difficult situation. So if we are confident in our hybrid identity, there's hybrid car, electricity and petrol. So hybrid identity means I'm a Bengali Muslim identity, but I'm British. That is hybrid identity. And others can manage this hybrid, Hindu hybrid, and they are succeeding, but Muslims are not succeeding. I'm not comparing for comparison sake. In the world you have to compare some of the things. Why others succeed in the world, why we fail. Does that mean we have given up the world? No, we should not give up the world. Prophet Sallallahu Sahaba even said, Umar said that if I know if the whole world goes wrong and I'm okay, then I'm fine. So, and there's this beautiful hadith. If you see the resurrection or Qiyamah is coming and you have a sapling in your hand, you plant it before the Qiyamah happens. That means giving importance to the world is fundamental Islam. Rabbana atena fid dunya. But Muslims, those who are practicing, they give up world to remain better Muslims. On the other hand, those who are secular amongst Muslims, they do the other things. There is no dichotomy or contradiction. And then, yeah, language and communications. That's the big issue between the Asian or Eastern parents and Western children. I'm using this term because Eastern parents means first generation parents. Western means children born into them, because they would not learn Finland. Bangladeshi people, many I know, they want to go to England because England colonized us. We know the English language, so we want to end up in England. Language is English. Is there any problem in learning Finnish, Swedish, any other language? Especially to communicate with your own children. Why don't you learn the language that your children speak? Is it too difficult to learn a language? No, it is not. You cannot force a child to learn this and that language, because by forcing, nothing works. I have to tell something about the end. Forcing children will drive them away from you. It's the relationship, is the mild nature that brings the children nearer to the parents. So bilingualism should be a pride. Of course, Arabic is our language. We should learn English, of course, because English is the lingua franca in the world. But Bengali and Finnish, Bengali and Italian, what's the problem? At least for communications, one should do this. So these are the issues that have brought up the opportunity. And if parents can communicate with their own children freely, frankly, and openly, then you see things change rapidly. Okay? Authority and autonomy. Now, we expect respect and obedience and joint decision making. This is just parents, children, gaps, opportunity. These are the few slides. Children value autonomy, discussion, and children want to discuss things. Parents want to dictate. Discussion and dictation is two different things. Okay? So there's a perception of rebellion. We think that children are rebelling. Are they rebelling? Probably not. They just want to express their opinion. We see that that's the rebellion. That's not. Because if you want to control a child very rigidly, anything that the child responds will be seen as rebellion. Okay? Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, best man on earth, best prophet. Sahaba asked him, and Sahabas they were just competing to get his water from the wudu. That's the love and respect they showed to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. On some issues, they asked, Ya Rasulullah, is it your opinion or Allah's opinion? Okay, was that a rebellion? Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam liked it. He said, it's my opinion. And they said, in that case, let's do this in a different way. Did Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mind it? No, he was happy. So this blind obedience in the family, in the organization, in the mosque, especially amongst Muslims, there are variations, have virtually killed our potential. Very talented people want to do something, but they cannot fit in. And that's a real danger as sadness. So opportunities show the model of mutual respect, consultation, family consultation, and balanced guidance and empowerment. That's how children become empowered. Faith expression. Islam is a lived tradition, shaped by culture, rituals, community norms. But for Western-born children, they may not understand this. What is meant by lived religion? Because they live in a secular society. They want to personalize Islam. Okay? And that is not bad. Personal meaning system often reinterpreted intellectually or socially, because they read books. Not only read one group of books, not only read the syllabus. They read Asekadi, they hear another Western scholar, and they're open-minded. There are plenty of challenges with the young people. I know that, and they should not read all these books. Probably, if parents Ask them to read original things in the beginning, because if your root is not strong, then your branches will be wrong. So that's another discussion. So there's a clash between cultural Islam and contextual Islam. Contextual Islam is missing in the Western Muslim diaspora. In some countries, some groups are doing better, others are not doing that. So facilitate intergenerational learning, intergenerational learning, and Islam's adaptability across the culture. So that is so important. Parents have to go bring themselves down to the children's level. You know, in the nursery, when teachers talk, they use baby language. I was a teacher for many years after finishing physics, and and we have learned the baby language. Parents have to learn, and I know moms do this better. That's normally, and those who are in education sector, they will know this. That's why I always prefer education than to any other profession. Other professions are wonderful, but education is vital. If a mom and dad is educated, and that's the education course, psychology course, they will be much better to raise their children. And Prophet Sallallahu himself was a muallim. He was the muallim for the whole of the world. Social life and friendship. Okay, parents feel that if you mix with others, then you'll lose your Islam. Many parents themselves don't mix. Why? Because they don't have enough knowledge and confidence in Islam. Did it happen to the Muslims? Muslims did not have empire or rulership for all the centuries. After the fall of Baghdad by 1258, Muslims lost many things. So even then, individual groups, they had knowledge, they went to different places. Conversion is constantly, people are getting converted. In the UK, around 5 to 6,000 people accept Islam every year. In America, 15 to 20,000. I don't know about Finland. And most of them, 70 to 80% are professional women. Professional, highly skilled women, they become Muslim because they know how Western society treats them as the sex object. And they know Muslims in Islam, women, wonderful role. Okay, so children seek inclusion. They want to work together because their friends are Muslims, non-Muslims, practicing Muslims, non-Muslims, not practicing Muslims. Those who are adults, they live with only practicing Muslims, similar type Muslims. But children mix up with everyone. So there's the overprotection versus peer pressure or isolation. That's the gap. What we have to do is guide our youth with the concept of multiple identities that I mentioned a few minutes ago in ethical navigation in society without losing our values. Multiple identities, and we have to talk about ethics. Politics should be ethical, economy should be ethical. Our politics in the West and the Muslim world, they have gone down the drain, unfortunately. I don't want to name the names and uh, frustrate you. Gender roles also is another factor. Draw on traditional roles shaped by patriarchal or collectivist norms. Going through the Sira of Prophet Islam, his time in Medina, Sahaba's time in Medina, how men and women played their role. And Sahaba, Tabi, and centuries later. But in contradiction, in contrast, children seeing their parents living in another world, they enter into their own world. Western equality, discourse, and gender rights, they're happy with that. And Islam is not against that. It's how knowledge you are, how you manage. That is important. These are the issues that Islamic organization, mosques, imams should discuss among the congregation, among the people. So the gaps are misunderstanding around modesty, independence, marriage choices, etc. So in South Asia, women have to wear certain type of clothes. In Iran, certain type of clothes. Whereas clothes are just ornaments, and it's a big discussion. But there are many ways of living within the Sunnah of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Opportunities, we have to revisit the prophetic models. What are the prophetic models? How did he treat women? How did he maintain the sanctity? These are so important for us to know because Sirah is important. Muslims have to learn first the Quran, not only Tasbih and Tilawat, but from Fatiha to Nas should read in his or her own language to understand what is there. It's a prescription. Tafsir will come later on. Simultaneously, Muslims should read Sirah of Prophet ﷺ, because Quran was revealed in Prophet ﷺ in his time to him. So these two are complementary, Quran and Sirah. Of course, Sirah, Sunnah comes, Sahih Hadith come there. Okay, so this mission and prophetic models, so these are important for parents. What I'm saying in here, mainly and everything is for parents. I'm not addressing the young people. Young people are under your supervision, under your guidance, under your mentorship. So what you do in the family, what you understand in the family, how you behave as mothers and fathers, how you behave with your neighbors and others, that impact on your own children. So tomorrow I have a discussion with the young people. I discuss, inshallah, about their roles. Technology, media, mobile. During the time of Prophet, every Arab was a swordman, wasn't he? And most Arabs were a poet. And Prophet fought poetry with poetry, sword with sword. Okay? These were the languages of that time. In our time, it's the social media or media. And Muslims in Britain and across the world so weak in mainstream media. They don't even know what is happening. They don't know what genociders are planning, colonialists are planning. If you don't know anything, how will you then defend it, fight back? That has become we have unfortunately our hallmark. Within three, 4 decades, two countries have come up, and both of them were civilizational power. One is China, one is Iran. In China, within a few decades, they are now superpower. Superpower not only militarily they are far behind America, but in technology, whatever America has, China has in a better form. America has ChatGPT, they have got the DeepSeek. In every area, Chinese are creating their own, and they not allow any infiltration as Western countries infiltrate in Muslim countries. They don't allow, and spying is very strong. So modern statecraft, if it wants to maintain independence and dignity, cannot simply follow the West. Iran is another country that was a superpower. There's an empire, and only country in the Middle East, or they're Shia, and they have come up with technology after so much of sanctions. And in the last, there was a 12-day war between Iran and Israel. Iran used to use GPS system, and they realized that GPS is in the hand of Israel. That's why they have suffered. Now they are going for Chinese video system. It's far better than GPS. So Iran and China, and to some extent Russia, they are working together to create a different technological world. In the Muslim countries, our universities, there is a fighting, there is no education and just rote learning. I'm talking about Bangladesh. To some extent, in most Muslim countries, apart from Malaysia and Turkey a bit, we are educationally, there is no comparison. We are far behind. And without education research, there cannot be any technological superiority. And without technological superiority, you will be dependent on others and they will use you. And that's obvious. Last 2 years of genocide, we have learned so many things. I hope Muslims learn this. Okay? Children live in their online world. They prefer online world. So you have to understand what online world is, parents, and how do you handle friendship creation, identity. So these gaps, they created moral framework as well. Children grow with one moral and that is near to the Western things, which is not good because Muslim countries don't have any, parents don't have any, so they are confused and they unwillingly or unknowingly follow the Western model. Private, public, everything they have gone. So, but there is an opportunity, especially for Western Muslims like us in our country, in Finland or in England or some other in other countries. Our universities, there is no fight and there is no politics, toxic politics every year. There is an education. That's why many Muslims are now coming. And only recently, I think for the first time in the Muslim world, Nobel laureate people go a bit of political things, but people getting Nobel Prize in literature, chemistry, physics, economics, they are genuine. A Palestinian, Jordan, and an American has got the Nobel Prize in chemistry. And he was so humble. His father could not read properly. He was born in Jordan. He was a refugee. I feel pride. I'm not saying that he got Nobel Prize. That's not pride. Nobel Prize is just a worldly recognition. But the way he has come and he has become the father of one area of chemistry, and that has been a major discussion in the BBC and others. Okay, so one person can energize the whole ummah. Will our children become energized like this? That's the question that you have to ask. So digital ethics is important at home and in the organizations, in the mosque. This should be discussed. In the UK, Muslim Council of Britain, that you probably have heard, we are more or less gaining many things after 7/7. We lost some of the things in the last around 10 years. Now we are coming up again. Our younger generation is coming, and they're exactly the thing that I am discussing. The Secretary General, recent Secretary General, discussing this similar. We are in the same discussion. We need Generation Z, Gen Z, to come up. Generation Y, my children generation, 30, 40, they have become professionals, but many of them are not giving back anything to their own community. They have become middle class Muslim. Middle class Muslims means 2-3 times holiday abroad, eating out every week. That's the nature, not everyone. So we need to change that, and only parents can do this. Okay, citizenship, belonging, that is sense of belonging. Just 5 minutes, just tell me. People live in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, live in the past. Do they get citizenship? No. Because Muslim countries don't have the concept of giving citizenship. In Turkey, if you take around £250,000 or dollar, you may get citizenship. But Muslim countries don't have any concept. The West, after Second World War, they liberalized their society. They learned that 2 world wars destroyed them. They brought people from abroad. They gave them citizenship with equal legal rights. I'm not saying that politically we are equal, and Muslims are vilified now, I know. But we have legal rights. Judiciary is still far better than any Muslim country. So why not? Why don't we feel once we use British passport or Finnish passport or whatever, why don't we feel British and Finnish? Does that mean that I have to drink? I have to do all sorts of bad things? No. Every society there are bad people. Every society there are bad people. Does that mean say Bangladeshi people, there are many bad people, especially the political class. Being a Bangladeshi doesn't mean I feel bad. I don't feel because there are individuals who are bad. So in the UK or America or Western countries, government is a problem, media is a problem. We know this. Civil society, we work with them. They are exactly same as us. And the anti-Israel or pro-Palestine demonstration every week there is in the UK. And most of them are white. Many of them are middle class. Some of them are upper class. Recently they have joined in the demonstration. So they are our friends. In the religious term, they are potential. Everybody is a potential Muslim in Islamic term. So these are the important things that Parents still think they're immigrants. Many young people still think we're immigrants. If you think you are immigrant, you will remain immigrant until your death. One day you have to think that you are not immigrant. Yes, we have got immigrant background. Say Zohran Mamdani, New York. He is immigrant. He's fighting back. So give his example because he does not compromise. There are other politicians who compromise in England even. Okay, are we going to remain guests everywhere? Are we guests? Why did they want to throw us out if guests are there? So these are the things one have to think, and your parents' generation should think. The children feel citizenship, but also because of the lack of knowledge, they are confident in saying this. You scholars and organizational leaders, imams, they could educate them properly. They would have better in their character, in their profession, going tough in their profession, and you don't have to give dawah verbally that you become Muslim. Your behavior, your activity, that is the dawah, and your professionalism. Gap is caution versus confidence. Parents are too cautious. Children are trying to be confident, but because of knowledge. Who is going to give this knowledge? So opportunities turn the faith identity because many American first people, like I don't know to name them, many of them are saying what Muslims do in their life is wonderful, a disciplined life. There is no discipline in the Western life. People come to Islam from various angles by reading Quran and seeing Muslims disciplined life, not individual Muslims like us who are weak Muslims. And unfortunately, some of them go back to away from Islam by coming into the Muslim community, and they see that there are all sorts of rubbish things going on, and significant section goes back again. And faith inspired active citizenship with civic energy. I use this term. Faith inspired. We are dictated by faith, but we are not propagating faith in the West. We are inspired, and we use the social language, Finnish or British language, to make these Islamic things palatable to them, understandable to them. They will not learn Arabic words. And why would they learn Arabic? Because they are at the upper hand. Okay, so probably this is more or less the last, but I will come to one or two. From gaps to growth, see difference as a dialogue, not disobedience. I'm talking about the parent-children difference. Consider this as a dialogue, not difference or build family storytelling, energize them. Your personal history, how we struggle, and how they should build their life in this country. Unless you decide to go back to your country of origin, that's up to you. Share migration struggles. We all struggle in migration. Children should be informed that look, we struggle, we are trying to give a better life, but you have the opportunity to bring Islam to the West or shine in this world. Develop youth parent workshops on faith, identity, emotional intelligence. These are discussion points, not just few verses and few hadiths within the limit. Every hadith, every verse is vital, important for us, but that has to be contextualized. And then encourage community mentorship, bridge generations through shared service. So neighborhood work, somebody in the local community is ill, help them. People should see that we are people of service. We are ukhrijat linnas for benefit of humanity. Do we do this deliberately? I know when somebody is troubled, somebody Muslim said they do it, but doing this planned wise? No, probably not. Promote a vision of confident, I'm using the Scandinavian Muslims, rooted in ethics, but thriving in diversity. Okay, now few words about parenting. All are parenting, but direct few words. One is what are the parental roles? That is important. And I see this is there are three roles. One is nurturing, that means mom and dad nurture their children until the age of, that's why we call nursery, plant nursery, human nursery. Okay? Nursery means you nurse them. That the fundamental element is nurse them, raise them, keep them safe, grow them mentally, emotionally happy. And the second is, once child grows up a bit, the child will learn abusive words, fighting, this and that. That's human nature because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created every human being with fujur and taqwa. Alhamaha, fujuraha, wa taqwaha. Surah Psalms, verse 8. Allah has given us fujur inside, that is tendency to do bad things, and He has given us conscience. Why? Allah wants to test us. If you are only given conscience, taqwa, Allah doesn't need us. First, angels are there. And Allah would not create someone just as everything is worse. So human beings are in the middle. Among this middle, there are three categories. Find فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. We will do our zulum on ourselves. وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ. And one will be fajr or bad people in their character. Others, they are in the middle, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And then sabiqum bil khairati bi'isnillah. And the best people are those who compete to become better. So there are three types of Muslims. And each one can go down to the bottom, can go up to the bottom. Allah's wish if they try. Last one is educating. That's the purpose of parenting. Feeding them, cleaning them is not parenting, it's parenthood. Any animal can do this. Human beings are developed animals. Some people say, I don't say this. So mom and dad, they don't need any training to feed their baby, clean their baby, shower, and etc. But educating them is the most important. That makes one Muslim or Fajr, Fasik Muslim or hypocrite or others. In the Muslim countries, the leaders who sell their country to other countries, parents have dismally failed. Every parent should be ashamed if their children behave like this. Yes, if they trained in their period and society make them parent beyond parental control, then it's not. So what I always say is, we want from our children, we want ourselves as well, as better humans, better citizens, and better Muslims. These are the three things that we want from our children. We want to be known, we want to raise our children as better humans, and better Muslims, obviously, and better citizens. We will not break any law in this country, we will not steal money in this country, we will not suddenly with gun and with knife go and kill some people and create a havoc and make the whole community responsible. Our children will not do this. That's parental responsibility. And probably the last one is a basic parenting. From birth to 7, this is a sunnatic tradition. That's a tradition. Prophet's character and Sahaba's way of handling their children, through that came this thing. From 0 to 7 is one phase, and that phase is unlimited love, safety, warmth, care, play, inspire, and do not force, do not shout. Do not force to become a hafiz, do not force them to become a scientist. You just play and raise them in curiosity. They will choose, and you just give an advice or you give a point just to think. That is the period when a child builds his or her character. 0 to 7. 7 to 14 is the most important. Why is it 7? Because Prophet ﷺ says, teach your children salah at the age of 7. He did not say age of 6 or 8. Through that, Sahaba and following generations divided this. And 7 to 14 is the most important. That's a teaching, learning period. formal teaching, formal learning. And by the time a child becomes 14, he or she is in the puberty, either cross puberty or going through puberty. That means that's the most dangerous phase of a human life. Dangerous as well as opportunistic phase. Dangerous in the sense, boy and girl, Allah has given them the mutual attraction. Man and woman love and, whether love or lust. If the love becomes lust, then they become, in the Western society, there is virtually no marriage in the West. And people live together, have children, and then suddenly sometimes think that they should get married at the old age, or their children ask them to get married. This is the society. I'm not blaming them in the sense that some people abuse. We shouldn't abuse it, because this thing happened because Muslims lost their empire, lost their intellectually spiritual edge, lost the global leadership. They became leaders and they rejected Catholicism, Christianity. So it's the Muslims' fault initially. And of course, Christian priests and others' fault. So this 14 is very important, 13, 14, 15. Handled with very sensitiveness, your own children. Do not shout at them. They may run away from home. 14 to 21, this phase is just you. If you have done your job from 0 to 14, then your child will become your most friendly person. You become a friendly person. Do not become friend. Don't become too close, because parent and child are different. But be very friendly, open, discuss anything on earth. So this is the more or less Islam. I don't say Islamic parenting, Muslim parenting. I think, okay, I've said this. Yeah, sorry, what did I say? Yeah, I just leave a couple of slides. Knowledge is the start. Wisdom is the end, not end. Wisdom and ihsan. These are important. So create a habit of your own reading. Read. Without reading, nothing can happen. And Muslims created a civilization where some people write 700, 800 books. They were famous in astronomy, physics. Many of them were Hafiz of the Quran. Where are those? And so you should have a bookshelf in your house, and as an individual, so everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask in the day of judgment individually. Whether you belong to organization or mosque, that is immaterial. Allah will ask us individually, and Amal will be given the right hand or left hand to individual Muslims. So individual agency is important. Do not be too reliant and obedient to mosque imam or organization, because mosque imam or mosque establishment, organization cannot save us. Individually, these organizations are wonderful and useful if individually people become proactive and we don't wait for dictation from others. And in a family, mom and dad, Islamic organization, they are important. Institution like mosque, and also in the mainstream society. I think that's my last one. No, sorry, there's one. Ihsan. Ihsan is the excellence. And Prophet ﷺ hadith, and ta'budullah ka'annaka tarahu. Whenever you pray as if you are watching Allah. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. But you cannot see, but think that Allah is watching. That is ihsan in the spiritual connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in the any worldly act, Prophet ﷺ said from Allah's command, Inna Allah katabal ihsan ala kulli shay. Allah commands ihsan in us. It's Allah's command, Prophet ﷺ's mouth, it has come. That means ihsan is faiza qatalta. There are two examples. Faiza qatalta fahsinul qatlata. When you fight in the way that you win in the battle, like Khalid bin Sahaba. You don't go there to lose and unnecessarily give your life. You want to win. And for that, any preparation needed, you go with the preparation. Why the zabahata fahsinul zabahata? When you slaughter an animal, then do this with the sharp knife that the animal gets the minimum pain. These are the two examples Professor gave. So ihsan is the hallmark of Muslim leader, family. And if we nurture ihsan, Islam, Iman, Islam, Taqwa, ihsan. Ihsan is we call it epitome, but every Muslim can be muhsin because we are asked to pray in that manner. Every Muslim can be muhsin in the job that we do. If we are professionally superior, others will come and learn from us. Then they will say that here's a Muslim who knows how to do things and he is helpful. Okay? So Islam is simple to propagate. We don't have to show by outward feelings, outward expression, or word of mouth. Ihsan thing is that what we do, and people will definitely observe you. If you help your neighbor in the best manner, then that is ihsan. Jazakumullah khair, brothers, sisters. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك